I am super excited because I have something awesome to share with you guys today. This is the brand new DJI Mavic 2 Pro. There are two versions of the Mavic Pro that DJI released today. One of them has a 1-inch image sensor, which is this one. This is the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. The other one is the Mavic Zoom, which features a zoom lens, which is kind of cool. I'm really excited about having a larger sensor in this drone. I am not excited about this weather. This is Texas. It is August. It is hot and it is really hazy, and I have this drone for exactly 2 days before I need to put out the video, so I'm just going to do the best I can with the cards that I'm dealt here. DJI are not sponsoring this video, however, they did send me the Mavic 2. So the cool thing is it's got better battery life. It's got like 31 minutes of flight time now. The downside is they only sent me one battery, so every 31 minutes it's got to go back on the charger. I am really not amped about this weather. If this thing had just arrived one day earlier, I would have had a chance to get some post-rainstorm awesome skies. But it is what it is. Let's put this in the air and see what it'll do. The first drone that I bought was the DJI Phantom 3 Professional, which shot awesome looking 4K video. It is a huge drone and it makes a lot of noise and it kind of freaks people out. So it was kind of hard to use and I didn't always feel comfortable using it. The second drone that I bought was the DJI Spark that was announced maybe a year and a half ago. This drone is pretty awesome. It's very portable, it's very small, it doesn't freak people out at all. In fact, people get very curious about it. It takes pretty awesome looking images and video, but the resolution is limited, 1080p on the video, and you have JPEG only on the stills, and it's about 12 megapixels. Which brings us to this drone, which is the DJI Mavic 2. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are two editions of this drone that DJI have released. There's one that features a zoom lens, which is the first consumer-based drone I've ever seen with a zoom lens, and then this one, which features a 1-inch sensor. Now, pretty much every drone on the consumer level features a 2/3 of an inch sensor, which is really tiny. So what I'm really hoping that this drone will do is not only increase the image quality, but also the performance and the types of lighting conditions that you're able to shoot in, including low light. There are some big flight performance upgrades as well. Top flight speed is 72 kilometers per hour. You get up to 31 minutes of flight time on each battery charge. It also features a much quieter operation. Also interesting is OcuSync 2.0. Now, OcuSync is the technology that streams video from the drone to the device that you're using, and it now streams up to 1080p video. So if you want to edit something right from your device and upload to social media, it gives you a much better quality than what we've seen in the past. For full quality capture footage, you can use the SD card slot on the bottom of the drone, or it also features an internal drive that has about 8 gigabytes that you can store data on. This is really nice if you forget to put the card in the drone, which we've all done. The Mavic 2 also features new flight modes that are based around this idea of doing a hyperlapse. Now, when you do a time lapse, you usually have a stationary camera that photos images over time. Hyperlapse involves motion, so what it'll do is take a series of stills based on intervals that you set it to. It can do these freeform and a circular configuration. You can use course lock or waypoint, and when you're done, it will stitch all these together and make a sped up movie, and this is actually kind of interesting. For still capture, you can do HDR images directly in camera, and there's also a new mode called Hyperlight, which captures clean and clear photos in low light environments. You're probably also noticing that there are a lot of sensors on this drone, and the Mavic 2 Pro also features omnidirectional obstacle sensing. So you get up, down, and forward and backward, and when you're in active track or tripod mode, you get an additional left and right. Now, I do want to note this is not 360-degree object detection, so you still need to be careful and pay attention to what you're doing with the drone, and 2 of the directions, left and right, are only available in 2 of the modes, so you do want to be very careful, but this does add a considerable amount of object awareness to the drone. So let's get down to business of why I am most excited about this drone. When DJI first called me up, they said, well, this features a Hasselblad camera. I was stoked. Probably a little too heavy. Still too heavy. This might work. So here's the deal. We've got a bigger sensor, a better camera. In fact, the camera features Hasselblad's Hasselblad Natural Color Solution, which is essentially the color profiles that they designed for the X1D and the H6 series. They are now in this drone, which I'm really excited about. We can also control aperture. I have never been able to do that on the previous drones that I have, so I'm really excited about that. They were really just kind of fixed at 2.8, which is a problem when you're filming outdoors a lot, especially in bright lights. So I really wanted to put all this to the test. So last night I went out right before sundown, right at sundown, when downtown was starting to light up, and shot some footage. Let's check it out. My first impressions with the Mavic 2. So I have had this for exactly 2 days, and technically I still need to edit this video, so I've had a day and a half to get all my footage and my experience with the drone. So I can say right off the bat, I am really impressed with the image quality. I think that DJI have taken this to a whole new level. It's got a really good camera in it. It's got good manual control over things like aperture that I'm not used to, and it has that 1-inch sensor, and I think that is the key because this increases the versatility of what you're able to do with this drone. I mean, it's still a small sensor. It's not a full frame 35mm. It's definitely not medium format, but it is the same size of what you see in the Sony RX100, and so it really puts this into a new class in terms of the imaging that you're able to do with this. So that alone is a huge boon. In fact, one of the things that I really like about what DJI are doing with these drones now is they have panoramic modes that are built into these. And when I got the Spark, I've traveled a lot with that drone, and I've done a lot of panoramas over the last year or so with that. And I'm really interested to see, once I start traveling with this drone, what I'm able to capture as well. Because the problem with the Spark is it does pretty good images, and of course it stitches all these together so you get a really big image in the end. The downside is that they were all 12 megapixel JPEGs, and the processing in the drone tended to over sharpen things a little too much for my taste. So I'm really interested to see what kinds of things I'll be able to do with the Mavic 2. Another thing that I want to mention is that if you're shooting video, this drone is now giving us 14 stops of dynamic range, which is a big deal because with a drone you're generally shooting landscapes. If you're shooting in the middle of the day, we have high contrast that we have to deal with. So this is like losing shadow detail or blowing highlights. And now we have more effective dynamic range to work with, which is really cool. Another thing that's interesting is all the footage that you've been watching, I have shot in 10-bit with the Dlog-M profile. So this is a log profile that's built into the drone, and now we're able to get 10-bit footage off of this. And what this means is if you're going to do color grading, and I did do some color grading in here because this city's just so ugly right now with the weather the way it is. But anyway, if you're going to do color grading, this gives you a lot more room to work with before you start seeing artifacting, and this is a huge deal. This outperforms the Phantom 4 Pro Edition now, and so it kind of makes me wonder, because when you look at what the Mavic 2 offers, obviously it's somewhere in the middle. You know, it's not quite as small as the Spark, but it does fold down and it is very portable. And then it is pretty much in the same class as the Phantom 4 in terms of power and speed and what you can do to control it. And then now we have imaging that's better than any drone that I've seen DJI produce. So I think this is a big deal. I want to hear from you guys as well. If you shoot drone footage, is this something that you're excited about? Please drop a comment below. Until the next video, I'll see you guys then. Later.